Dr.MGR Educational and Research Institute, University, Madurai, Chennai. Dr.MGR Educational and Research Institute, University, Madurai, Chennai.
A pleasant good afternoon, everyone. Starting with a beautiful quote is always worthwhile as it transforms any situation into a lively, motivating, and positive one. Here is a famous quote by the most popular leader, Nelson Mandela. The greatest glory in living lies not in never failing, but in rising every time we fall. With this beautiful quote being said, I hope I lifted your spirits up. I'm Professor Dr. P. Harshni, and I feel ecstatic to take up this lovely task of hosting today's program. It is a matter of immense pride and pleasure to have you all here for the national level webinar come interactive session on English for Specific Purposes NEP 2020 Necessity organized by the Department of English Adayalampattu Phase II Campus of Dr.MGR Educational and Research Institute University, Chennai, Tamil Nadu. The resource person for the day is eminent Dr. Vaibhav Sabnis, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Memorial College of Law, Dhule, Maharashtra. I was really taken aback when I heard this is Dr. Vaibhav's 64th program as resource person. We are really fortunate to have a multi-talented personality with us today. The objective behind organizing this webinar is to address on English for specific purposes amidst NEP 2020 and the need to introduce it at the undergraduate level with a base of English at preliminary level. We sincerely hope all the participants will gain so much from the session of today. In the virtual studio, we also have Assistant Professors Ms. R. Akshya and Mrs. S. Jaimada from the Department of English. Dear participants, we are really overjoyed with the support you are rendering towards all our programs. Thank you very much, as it is because of you all that we are able to organize many successful programs for the learning community. Here I have some information to share with you all. There will be a feedback link which will be posted in the YouTube chat box at the end of this session. You are all requested to click, fill, and submit the form before 6 p.m. today to instantly receive your certificates in your registered emails. The link will be deactivated after 6 p.m. As we have already termed it as an interactive session, I request the participants to interact by posting questions in the chat box at the near end of the session. The resource person with help from the moderator will clear all your doubts. Heading to the program now, I warmly invite Mrs. S. Jaimada, Assistant Professor, Department of English, to welcome the gathering. To you now, Jaya ma'am.
Thank you, Harshni ma'am. From the words of anecdotal France, to accomplish the great things, we must not only act, but also dream, not only plan, but also believe. Very good afternoon to one and all present here. I'm thoroughly pleased to witness you all here in this webinar. It's a moment of extremely pleasure to address you all on the behalf of our department. I welcome all the dignitaries and research scholars, the participants for today's program. A webinar come interactive session on English for Specific Purpose NEP in 2020 necessity. I must mention my deep sense of gratitude to our beloved founder Chancellor Thuru A.C. Sanmugam and Honorable President Engineer A.C.S. Arun Kumar for encouraging us to conduct two useful program to extend our knowledge in this pandemic time. I am very much delighted to welcome Dr. S. Geeta Lakshmi to our beloved Vice Chancellor of our university. He has been our guiding light and always encourages us all encourage us to perform better. I welcome to our respected registrar, Dr. C.V. Palnivelu, who has provided such an exceptional platform to us. I would like to welcome Joint Registrar, Phase II Campus, Dr. S. Ramalingam and Dean Dr. S. Manivannan, who has been guiding and motivating us to conduct the many events to enhancing the knowledge of teaching community. I would also welcome to our Deputy Dean Academics, Dr. A.R. Arunachalam and Professor K. Sendilkumar, Dean Administration Phase II Campus, for giving their valuable suggestion and encouragement to the program. I bid you a very warm welcome to our renowned speaker of the day, Dr. Vaibhav, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Dr. Babasaheb, Ambedkar Memorial College of Law and Rural Maharashtra, who took out of their valuable time and joined us today to be a part of this webinar. We are also honored to have you with us, sir. I once again welcome you, sir. And finally, I welcome to our most enthusiastic participants and research scholars and students to various places to gain the knowledge through this event. I hope you all have enriching and informative session ahead. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your beautiful welcome to the gathering. It is now time to introduce our eminent resource person, Dr. Vaibhav Sabnis, to the gathering. Ms. R. Akshya, Assistant Professor, Department of English, who is also the technical host of today's program, will introduce him to us. To you now, Akshya, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my privilege to introduce our energetic resource person of the day, Dr. Vaibhav Sabnis. Dr. Vaibhav qualified MA, BEd, SET, and PhD, and serving in the Department of English at Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Memorial College of Law, Dhule, since 1999. He successfully worked as a coordinator of NEP and IQAC. He is specialized in ELT, Indian Writing in English, and legal language. Dr. Vaibhav is a founder president of LTI in Khandesh chapter. He is a research guide in KBC North Maharashtra University, Jagal. Dr. Vaibhav published over 58 research papers in national and international journals and participated more than 60 national and international seminars and conferences. He completed the UGC-funded MRP on legal language. Presently, he is guiding 4 research scholars and 7 research scholars, including a foreigner, have successfully completed PhD under the guidance of Dr. Vaibhav. He has chaired sessions in international and national seminars and conferences and chairperson in international conference held in Thailand. He also addressed a keynote speech in UGC-sponsored national and international seminar at DB College, Bukhar, Nandan, Nidavlud, Andhra Pradesh. He delivered lectures and speeches as a resource person, chief guest, and judge and examiner at various national seminars, state programs, and colleges, and also delivered many lectures in various workshops, schools, colleges, NSS camp, and legal literacy camp, and so on. Dr. Vaibhav had honor of being an external referee conducting in PhD Viva Awards. Some of his books published with an ISBN as an editor in Indian Literature in English, some reflections, ELT Innovation Methods and Techniques, and the collection of poems in English entitled O Love, O Life has been recently published. This gentleman has given a background voice of many local TV advertisements, and he did a program at The Hill Radio. We are honored by your presence on this occasion, sir. We hope having a person like you will enlighten the student teacher community on the whole. On behalf of our university and department, we pray Almighty to bless you to win more and more laurels. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir, seeing your impressive profile, it makes me remember the words of Ben Franklin, who once said, an investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. You seem to be an embodiment of this beautiful saying. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation instantly to be our resource person. We earnestly believe that your talk will prove to be an insightful one for the academic world. I now cordially invite you to the studio to enlighten the audience. To you now, sir.
Thanks a lot, madam. Thanks a lot for inviting me on this occasion. I thank Dr. Harshini ma'am from the core of my heart. I thank Honorable Vice Chancellor, the Registrar, the Deans, Assistant Deans, the HOD, the technical support, the non-teaching staff, and most importantly, the person who is playing the dual role, Akshaya madam, who introduced me in a very generous way, and Jai Mata madam, who had her introductory talk. Good afternoon to all the teachers of your very esteemed university, Dr.MGR University. And good afternoon to all those participants who are watching the live streaming on YouTube. Dear friends, I would like to share my screen, and today I'm going to talk on two things, and I'm going to fuse them. One is the NEP, that is National Education Policy. The second one is ESP, that is English for Specific Purposes. So I'll be talking about these two. Just a second, I'll be sharing my screen. I hope it is visible to you all. So English for Specific Purposes, National Education Policy 2020 necessity. That is what I am going to talk today. If you have any questions, you can write in the chat box, or you can put your comment there, but I'll be reading your comment after nearly 40 minutes. So I expect you to understand my stance also, because just the screen is before me. I'll be spontaneously talking about various issues. Some of the issues may be very familiar to you, and some of the issues will be different. But today it is necessary to understand both the NEP and the ESP, National Education Policy. This is the third policy, remember, introduced by our present central government. And we need this kind of transformation, because we need something that addresses our issues. Because we have been seeing for years that our education does not translate into jobs, it doesn't translate into ethics, and we find that lots of unemployment is there. Again, lots of uncivilized manners are there in the society. And then we feel somewhere, what about our education system? These educated people are doing the same thing. So somewhere we are not trying to convert our education into the reality. That is, we are not civilized, we are not cultured in many ways. Many people on many occasions are not proving to be educated. So through this NEP, it is hoped that there will be revolutionary changes in our educational system. But remember, it will take nearly 20 years to make all these changes. Gradual introduction of NEP will be there through the IITs, IIMs, and central universities, etc. And it's a comprehensive framework. And they are talking about the primary education also, and higher education also, vocational training and so many things. I hope most of you know this. And we expect this transformation after nearly 20 years, that is 2040. It's Mission 2040. So gradual introduction of so many things will be there, but we expect revolutionary changes. Amidst this, where is English? Amidst this, where is the teacher of English? When we are going to give education, give instruction through our mother tongue, through the regional languages, there is fear amongst us that this 2040 will open with joblessness for the English teachers. That is a phobia, that is a fear, that is a fallacy. I believe that this national education policy will open more doors of opportunities for us. So, when we talk about survival, earlier we used to say that survival of the fittest. Charles Darwin also talks about that. But the new education policy says it is the survival of the smartest, the multi-talented, the multi-dimensional, the multi-skilled. And so today I'm going to throw light on some of these issues, because national education policy expects it. And gradual introduction is going to be there. We need to be ready. We need to be upgraded. And today we see that these smart ladies are there, empowered ladies, emancipated ladies are there. Harshini madam, Akshaya madam, Jai Mata madam, and many others are there in the department. And this empowerment, this kind of skill that they are single-handedly doing everything. That is what is expected in the national education policy. Do we believe that we had access for education? Even today, so many illiterate people are there. When we look at our educational system, we find that so many people are still deprived of education. You talk about the tribal students, you talk about the rural students, and you'll find that even today there is no access to education. There are so many plans, there are so many schemes, there are so many facilities, there are scholarships, there are free ships, there is free hostel facility, boardings and all. Still there is no access. So NEP is trying to give access to everybody. Then equity, there is lots of discrimination. India is a multicultural land, multi-religious land, and our social fabric is very complicated. Amidst this, it's very necessary for us, all of us, to ensure equity, and this is one of the pillars of National Education Policy 2020. Then what about quality? When we talk about quality, it has been seen that many educated youths, there was a survey that nearly 70% engineering graduates are not employable because the problem is with quality. We open colleges in rural areas, but what about the infrastructure? What about the staff? What about the quality? What about talent? What about merit? And this is where quality was compromised. We had the degrees, we had the marks, but we didn't have the quality. We didn't have that practical experience. We couldn't give anything. At application level, we failed. And most importantly, today, when we talk about quality education, when we talk about access, when there are big institutes, very rich institutes, then there is a problem of affordability. And when you talk about government schools and colleges, then you have to compromise with quality. That is what most people say. So somewhere NEP is trying to address all these problems, and it's a very wonderful thing scenario in India in particular. The parents blame the teachers for their education, I mean children's education. Suppose a child gets less marks, performs worse, then the parents blame the teachers. The primary teachers, the secondary teachers blame the primary teachers. The senior college teachers blame the primary teachers and higher secondary teachers. And then the senior college teachers blame the government for the policies, and everybody is blaming each other. And then the parents are there. They say that teachers are doing this and that. So there is a problem of accountability. Are the students really going to college? Are they really studying there? Today I did an experiment just to share with you. Because of pandemic, and I think I am sharing my knowledge with you only because of pandemic. Otherwise, it would have been difficult to come to Chennai for me, especially in this rainy season. So when we talk about accountability, I shared a message in a WhatsApp group of my students. And actually, I was delivering my talk. While then only I sent a message. And then I checked how many of my students who were there in the class saw that message. And then I talked about WhatsApp, social media and all that. I requested them, please focus on my lecture. Don't play in your mobile. Don't do anything else apart from attending my lectures. They said, yes. We attend your lectures only. And then I sent a screenshot to them. See, some of you saw it. Some of them were active on WhatsApp, but they were not in my Zoom lecture. So, dear friends, there is a problem of accountability. We have to stop this blame game. Parents blaming the teachers, teachers blaming the parents and all. Again, children are blamed. Everybody is blaming each other. So these pillars need to be consolidated, strengthened. They should be made stronger. So access, equity, quality, affordability, accountability are the pillars, and we need to contribute to that. When we talk about the new curriculum, it is khichdi, hodgepodge, and probability is there. Many experts are saying that will be producing many jacks and very few masters. And that's why I have taken this particular topic of English for specific purposes, so that we can have few jacks and then some masters out of them. So, everything is going to be taught, because a science graduate doesn't know literature. A literature graduate doesn't know mathematics kind of things or science. So here, everything needs to be introduced, as we see in the primary stage, that everything is there: language, history, science, and this and that. And all-round development. Mahatma Gandhi talked about all-round development of hand, that is physical development, development of heart, that is emotional development, and development of head, that is the intellectual development. These three developments are very important, and that's why games are important, sports are important. At the same time, literature is important, culture is important, and inculcation of values, ethics, morality, character building. These are the most important things, and we all need to aim at it through the new curriculum of National Education Policy 2020, because we want to produce, we want to foster educationally rich, multi-talented, multifaceted, well-rounded, versatile individuals, right? And for this, three things are very important. One is the creative thinking, how creatively we address a particular problem, how we work on solutions instead of just contemplating on a problem. That's why analytical, critical discussion, analytical and critical thinking is important. And we need to arrive at concrete solutions, give some solutions to the society. We need to innovate. We need to reconstruct something. We need to produce something very different, original, because life is changing. Our mobiles are getting upgraded and updated, but what about us? That is a problem. And hence, in this technological world, the education is also driven by technology, and now we are experiencing the bad effects of technology also. If you use your mobile more, if you use your laptop more, if you're in front of them, then your eyes are going to be badly damaged, your memory is going to be affected, and this is ultimately going to affect everything. So blended learning is somewhere. We cannot love technology more, we cannot become slave of technology, we cannot surrender ourselves to technology, though pandemic situation is there. So somewhere the blend, the fortunate blend of the traditional education and the technology driven education is the necessity in the NEP. Because on one hand we have digital libraries, on the other hand, we have the masses, the tribal, rural, economically, financially, socially backward masses who cannot afford mobile phones, who cannot recharge every month. What about them? So we again need those libraries where they would go, they will sit in the reading rooms, they will have access to the books, and they will do something. These are the necessities of the NEP. And the most important thing is we need special educational zones. We have special economic zones. We are concentrating to develop them. But now we need such zones also, because we find the states like Chennai Tamil Nadu, the state like West Bengal or Kerala, they are academically, educationally
Excuse me,
very
sir.
rich. Yes, madam.
Sir, sorry for the disturbance. Sir, are you changing the slides?
Yeah, I'm changing the slides.
But now only we can able to see your slides, sir. And please make it in
Okay.
a full screen.
I had made a full screen.
But
Okay.
um,
Is it okay now?
yes, it's okay. Your slides are changing, but it's not in a full screen, sir.
Okay, just a second, madam.
Okay, thank you.
Now is it visible?
No, sir, it's not in a full screen.
Okay, I'll try to work on it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Dear
A few
participants,
seconds on this.
due to some technical
Sorry
issue,
for. Yeah.
please wait.
So this is full screen, and I'm sharing the window, madam. I apologize the participants that just a second. Yeah, is it full screen now?
No, sir.
Now I have already enlarged it. It is there, madam, from my side. Last
Um,
attempt.
I
Last
think
attempt. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Now.
no, sir. You can continue with your presentation. I can just make the only the PPT visible here with your voice, not your video.
Okay, madam. Okay. Okay.
I'll make it, sir. Thank you.
Okay, dear friends. Welcome back. So I was talking about critical creative thinking and analytical thinking, and out of this, we are going to be challenged. It's a beautiful campus. I saw the campus of our university, Dr. MGR University, but there are going to be foreign universities that are coming to India. This will give more opportunities to our Indian teachers and students, but at the same time, it will be a big challenge to our Indian universities. So we have to upgrade ourselves. That is the only solution, and we teachers need to learn something that is very new, that is the trend of the time. And again, when foreign universities are going to be established in India, we teachers of English, we students of English, lovers of English, are going to have more opportunities, because English is going to play again the same role as link language and lingua franca, and the functions of English, or English as a functional language, is going to be again more important. There will be German, Russian, Chinese, and some other languages that will be taught in India, and some foreigners will be learning Indian languages like Sanskrit, etc. So again, there will be something global or something local. There's something global with the local touch. So global acceptability, applicability, and global significance is bound to be there. And most importantly, I'm going to share that our Indian literature is very rich. When we talk about Maharashtra, Maharashtra is the land of saints and reformers, and their literature is rich in content, rich in its substance. And if that becomes global, for example, Ayurveda and our yoga has reached the foreign countries, it has crossed the seven seas. So has our saint literature, but to some extent only, because we have the translations of Saint Tukaram's Abhangas poems by the poet Dilip Chitre, and so many foreign works have been translated into Indian languages. So that is there, but the point is English is going to play a very important role in all this. And again, everything is going to be technology based, because for translation you need no pen now. What you need is your mind and a laptop or mobile phone, because you have got Google Translate. You don't need to type, because if you speak, it gets typed. And that's why we need technologically powerful, techno savvy, English oriented English masters who will handle all these things. And these universities are likely to be in India very soon. Some of them may have the campuses, I don't know, in India. And there is going to be cutthroat competition. See, in Dhule, we have 2 3 law colleges. One is ours, which is funded and granted. We are provided the funds by the government. And then there is a private college where rich infrastructure is there, but unfortunately the teaching staff is not as rich as we are. We proudly say that. So this kind of competition is likely to be there. We saw with the introduction of English medium schools, the Jilla Parishad schools or the Marathi medium schools in Maharashtra, nobody went there. Only the poor, those who couldn't afford, they took admission in such schools, colleges, etc. So when global universities are going to be in India, there is going to be more competition, and English is going to play a pivotal role. And then when we Indians are trying to have our jobs abroad, then again there are some exams that so many people ask about TOEFL and IELTS, etc., etc. And amidst this, it's very important for us to learn English as English for specific purposes. And when we talk about specific purpose, suppose you want to settle in Australia, you want to pursue education in Australia, you want a job in Australia, then you need to appear for TAFE, that is technical and further education. Or if you want to do this in UK, then you have international test of English proficiency. Most of you might be knowing this. In USA, we have got test of English as a foreign language. So this kind of Englishes, I'm calling them Englishes deliberately, we need to adapt, we need to understand, and we need to focus on our needs first. I have told in one of a while back, I have said that we need to be jack of many trades and master of some, master of few. Master of one is not okay today. So we have multiple options. We have A, B, C, D, and we need to go for that. Now, if there are students of literature in front of me listening to me, or teachers, research scholars, academicians, all of us know that English for academic purposes is something different from general English. So Jacks will know the general English. Jacks will go to a tea stall and order for a cup of tea. But when the same Jack goes abroad and works in a hotel, then the Jack needs to be the master of that English for hoteling, English for hospitality. Or suppose a Jack goes abroad for some medical purposes, then the Jack needs to be the master of medical English, engineering English, legal English. So this kind of Englishes need to be mastered. So on one hand, we are talking about learning so many things at the graduate level, and we'll have graduation of 4 years, and then post-graduation of only 1 year. So that 1 year post-graduation needs thorough, in-depth study. And if we go for the English for specific purposes, then definitely we can master, we can become employable. What is important for us?
Excuse me,
We
sir.
take education. Yes, madam.
Sir, the same problem arrives now. The slide is not moving.
Oh my
Yes, sir.
God! From my side, it
Excuse
is
me.
moving. Should I share
Sir,
the?
don't make it as a full slide. Better we can keep it as same like this. I think
Okay,
when we go to the slide share only the problem comes. I think so.
okay. Now it is visible to you. ESP for foreign studies and
Yes, sir.
job.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, and if I change, you can see this, right?
No,
Can you?
no. Yes, sir. English language after NEP.
Yeah, it is
Yes.
taking little bit more time than expected.
Yes, I will
Okay, I'll
make
keep,
it as a full screen here. You just keep your
I'll
screen
keep,
like this.
I'll keep like this. Okay, madam.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, and humble apology for the technical problems. We are not comfortable with stream ads particularly. We zoom with zoom and all, right? Okay, dear friends, you have been watching me, listening to me. So just have a look at the things that I have shared. This is NEP at a glance, new system and all. Then we talked about pillars of NEP: access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. Then we talked about the new curriculum, and we can have so many jacks because we are going to study so many things like basic crafts, the humanities, basic arts and sports, languages, literature, culture, values, science, mathematics, etc. And we want to produce all round, the versatile, all round personalities. And amidst that, critical thinking, creative thinking is very important. The world is driven by technology. We have 5G in India now knocking our doors. We have e-learning, we have e-books, we have robotic everything. Maybe as the JCBs and Falklands have, earth movers I'm talking about, they have replaced human beings, the laborers. Maybe robots will replace teachers. So I don't want teachers to become robots for that purpose, but teachers need to upgrade and update themselves. They need to be multifaceted, multi-talented, and they need to address the issues of the society, because special educational zones are going to be there. We need to work on them. So I talked about the setting up of foreign universities, and this actually gives so many opportunities to the English students and teachers, because that rapport, that communication, that bridge, that can be that bridge, that gap can be bridged by the English teachers only, because Germans teaching German to the Marathi people or Tamil people, we need somebody English, who knows German and Tamil or Marathi like this. So that is the thing. And then I was talking about this, how we are striving to go abroad. So there is lots of migration, and then there is migration in technology also. We have digital migrants, and then we have digital natives. The new students, the new generation is digital natives. They belong to the this natives of technology. And then we find that those older people, even I'm not so comfortable with stream ads, so you may call me a digital migrant. I'm not so comfortable with this particularly, right? So ESP gives you an opportunity to become a jack of so many things, right? You become jack, so many things, but you master something, specialize in something, because your focus is on something. When I'm a teacher, my job is teaching. Along with this, I'm going to do some other things also. So ESP enables us to learn few more things along with this. For example, hotel management. I may go for hotel management. For example, after my lectures or my college hours, I may open a hotel and then English for hotel management. So we'll have some examples towards the end of my lecture. And if I wish to go abroad, I wish to teach in Oxford or Cambridge or some other universities. I think dreaming is not a problem or not a crime. We can dream for that, right? We can hope, we can wish, we can desire. And dear friends, if we want to appear for some program there, pursue some program in UK or USA, then we need to appear for some exams. And then they have their course content. For example, American English is different from Indian English. Our pronunciation is different. Most of our words are very different. A few days back, somebody phoned me and asked, "Sir, are you empty now?" Indian person, right? I said, yeah, I'm free now. You can talk with me. So for that person, empty was, are you free to talk? Right? So this is Indian English, but we cannot use the same English in all contexts, especially when it is academic English. So English for academic purposes. When you are writing a research paper, when you are delivering a talk in a seminar, when you are presenting a paper there, or when you are writing an article for a newspaper or magazine, your English is bound to be different. So I saw yesterday only one PhD Vaibhav was there, and I saw that we can say and we find. I told the guy researcher, don't use these words there, because what I, that is not important there. You should use passive voice or researcher things, you may say. So it has been found. This is academic language, right? Or I think that Shakespeare is a great dramatist. Now this is not academic language, right? We should say that the world acclaims William Shakespeare as one of the greatest dramatists. Shakespeare has been perceived as one of the greatest dramatists of the world, of the globe. This language is academic language, and then there are many other things like hypothesis, etc. But some students, some research scholars say presumption, assumption kind of thing. Again, so many things are there in English for academic purposes. We'll talk someday, right? Because I'm going to focus on ESP, not EAP, though EAP is the part of ESP. So when we talk about NEP, we have seen that we need JACs and we need masters also, and then we need English for some specific purposes. Because after nearly 20 years of our age, we come to a conclusion that I'm going to become an engineer, a doctor. We cannot have somebody who is a doctor and who teaches literature, because literature is completely different. But we may have a doctor who has interest in literature, or who has done a course in literature. We may have this kind of a person. So suppose somebody goes for nursing, that lady needs to know English for that particular purpose, English for nursing. So here English for specific purposes. Somebody wants to become journalist, so that journalist is different. I have some examples. If time permits, I'll definitely show. Then English for medicine, English for pharmacy, English for law, English for advertisement, English for aviation, and so many things are there. So ELT is there, English for English language teaching is there, but dimensions are changing, because now we have differently abled people, those who use technology and those who don't use technology. We have digital natives and migrants, as I said, and most importantly, there is a big void, big gap, where on one hand we have very rich, very advanced, upgraded students from urban areas, metropolitan cities, and then there are students who are deprived of education, who have no mobiles, who have no money to pay even for breakfast. And for them, affording a mobile phone, that too smartphone, Android phone, is a dream. So somewhere we need to address these issues in English for specific purposes. So if somebody like us comes out and says this is English for the tribal students, because their pronunciation is different, their problems are different, their temperament is different, their needs are different, And when we focus on that particular thing, in my class, I have seen there are some tribal students in my class also, that they have inferiority complex. We need to remove that. We need to give them some opportunities. Their pronunciation is slightly different from the pronunciation of others. So here you are focusing on pronunciation, for example. That becomes English for that specific purpose, English for tribal students. It won't be a wonder if you create a certificate course on this, or if you include this in your incorporate this in your syllabus, right? So basically we are focusing on communication, but again, communicating effectively, that communicative competence is always in demand, is always expected. And hence today we find that one who communicates effectively becomes more successful. And today's communication is enabled by technology. In this technology we have gadgets, we have many equipments, tools and all, and we need manuals for them, we need user guides for them. So if you become expert of writing the user manual, writing the prospectus of a particular college, university, or preparing flyers of some automobile companies, then you become expert in that, mastering that English for that particular purpose. Or web writing is very important today. Content writing has become very important today. Today, we find that social media is, doing everything. If somebody wants to resign, he or she does it on Twitter. So Twitter is, become a very, very important thing today. So many people have blogs, and if they don't have, then they write some articles on Facebook also. And today, on one hand, reading cult is disappearing. We call it Vachan Samskruti, that is disappearing. Nobody wants to read books. But reading cult of literature has disappeared, of books has disappeared. People are reading WhatsApp. They browse, they keep on seeing the things for hours and hours together. So if we create this kind of English for social media, English for specific purpose, then we can be in demand. So many political parties hire people, I should not name. The experts are always in demand. So if we become expert in this NEP scenario, then we can be in demand. Because after all, what we name is name, fame, satisfaction, that reputation and all, the money and all. So that will be given by this. So it won't be a wonder English for Facebook or English for cars. This kind of English can be introduced because we have customers of car, and so many customers of car. So there won't be a wonder that there will be a person hired who communicates very effectively on that particular thing. And through this, I'm taking you to English for specific purposes. So many Englishes, right? And then what we need to address are the needs of people, what we need. Suppose I go abroad and teach English there. What I need is I need their pronunciation, because my pronunciation at the end of the day is not received pronunciation. It is completely Indian pronunciation. So I need to modify according to the needs of that context, needs of those learners or people there. And I have to be specific. I have to understand the requirements. I have to understand the wants and needs, the purposes, the intentions, the idea behind hiring me, or the idea behind my going there for pursuing some degree. So that gives birth to English for specific purposes. We have to understand this. For example, an Indian doctor wants to practice in London. Now he or she needs to work on many things. Number one, the medical dictionary or lexicon, he knows already. Vocabulary, he knows it. But there may be some other diseases, other names, other kinds of things there in that country. He or she needs to update himself or herself through that. Secondly, the pronunciation or the language or the syntax or the way we interact there, because we cannot have the Indian ways in England. So we have to understand the needs, and we need to understand or learn that kind of English. So in the same way, when we talk about this specific purposes, this Hutchinson's tree diagram shows that there can be so many kinds of Englishes. I think you cannot see everything because it's very small. Font is very small, but you can see EAP, You can see English for teaching, English for psychology, English for secretaries, English for economics, English for technicians, English for medical studies. So these are the English for specific purposes based on needs, purposes, intentions, specifications, requirements, etc., etc. Right? It won't be under English for mother, because there may be some places where you have to play the role of mother. You may be hired as a maid, etc., etc. So many kinds of things are there, right? So many purposes are there. And so if you adapt that kind of English, that is going to be important. Now, when we talk about ESP course, NEP, National Education Policy, how to inculcate this in that particular course, then it can be having two layers. One is covering the generic knowledge of a particular field. Right, as I said, the doctor will know the lexicon of his profession, but at the same time, he or she needs to focus on the specifics of that particular individual, particular society that is there, and we need to address this. Through this, we come to one English for specific purpose. Let's have the examples. Let's have in-depth knowledge of this. We come to legal English. It is also called the language of law. It is also called legalese, as journalese is there for English for journalism. So legalese. Now you know that most of our laws are the laws which were prevalent during the British era, and they are continued. So the same kind of thing is there. It's a different vocabulary, different morphology, syntax, and semantics. I'm going to show you some examples. At the same time, there are different aims behind use of legal language. Now, legal language means the language spoken by the judges, advocates in court arguments or cross exam, or the judgments, the petitions, the applications and forms, all that is legal English. Now, this legal English is different from general English. And how it is different, and why we need to learn these small facets, salient features, because on one hand we say that ignorance is a bliss. The poets have said ignorance is a bliss. In Marathi also it is said ajnanat anand. If you don't know a particular thing, for example, somebody criticizes you and you don't know that somebody is criticizing you, you are happy. And if somebody tells you he is criticizing and you know, then you become unhappy. But law says that ignorance of law is no excuse. You cannot say something that you don't know, and that's why you have violated a particular thing. You cannot say that. And that's why lay persons should be able to understand English. Now, I'm talking about this English because we need this English, because everybody, you, me, and everybody needs two fields. We need to approach these two fields. We cannot separate ourselves. We cannot be untouchable to these fields. One is the law field, the second one is the medical field. Somewhere in our life we have to approach a lawyer. Somewhere in our life, and not many times in our life, we have to approach a doctor. In this context, we need to understand the gimmicks. We need to understand the salient features of legal English, right? Because we find that we are deceived by many people. So we have to understand different facets of this legal language. So before I explain the things, let me take you, now I have to enlarge this in order to show, just wait. I want to show you some examples. Akshay madam, is it visible to you, the Indian Evidence Act? Can you see it?
No,
It
sir.
is not visible, I think.
Yes, sir.
Not visible. It is not visible. Indian Evidence Act. I think I have to
You can
stop and share again. Just
yes,
wait.
sir. You can click at the entire window.
Yeah. I'll share again, so that I'll be sharing something specific. Yes, this is Indian Evidence Act. We are talking about ESP, English for specific purposes. In that, we are talking about the legal language. right? So here it is the law of evidence that we can see over here. And what you see is, just a second, what you see is, see, this is the Indian Evidence Act and some steps are there. See, these steps are there, and I am taking you downwards. So many things are there, and look at the language. A deed conferring the fishery on A's ancestors, a mortgage of the fishery by A's father, a subsequent grant of the fishery by A's father, irreconcilable with the mortgage, particular instances in which A's father exercised the right or in which the exercise of the right was stopped by A's neighbors are relevant facts. Now, if you look at this particular paragraph from stylistic point of view, you will say that too much A is there. Repetition of A is there. Number two, full stop comes at the end of third line. So nearly 30-40 words are there. There are so, and again explanation is there, right? Illustrations are given. So many illustrations are there. And then you go for another one. Facts bearing on question whether act was accidental or intentional. So sometimes something is done accidentally, sometimes it is done intentionally. So you can see the description when there is a question whether an act was accidental or intentional. Again, in bracket, the explanation is given: the fact that such act formed part of a series of similar occurrences, in each of which the person doing the act was concerned, is relevant. Now, I am damn sure that some of you must be banging your head, because this kind of language is very difficult to understand, very difficult to comprehend, and then use. So this is legal language. There are so many examples, but it is already 2 o'clock and 53 minutes, so I won't take much time. I mean, I'm going to take time, but not on this particular thing. So if you see a lease agreement or a death will or any other will, or even if you see a bank transfer form, you'll find that legal language is there. And this legal language is manifested through its lexicon, its syntax and style. So when we approach legal language as English for specific purposes, when we study it, when we master it, when we become comfortable with it, then we as the lay persons, because we belong to literature, we belong to language, we are not law experts. But when it is said that ignorance of law is not an excuse, then we need to understand the facets of it. Or if we want to enter this field, not as a lawyer, but definitely through in other capacities, then you need to understand the nuances of this language. So we find that everything is distinct. So many archaic words are there. English is a borrowed language, and legal language is more borrowed, I would say, because there are so many Latin words, Greek words, French words. Sometimes there is extreme precision, and sometimes there is circumlocution, there is prolixity. There are too many formal words, and I am giving some examples to you. So when we focus on this English, it is English for specific purposes, it is English for law purposes, legal purposes. So have a look at this. There are some doublets like answerable and accountable. They are synonymous, and I won't say that two words are same. I'll always say that they have their facets of meaning, they have their layers of meaning, they have shades of meaning, different shades of meaning. So you will find so many such doublets in advertisement. Also you see terms and conditions, right? Rules and regulations. So they are there. That is the feature of legal language. Sometimes we feel that they are synonymous, attach and annex, almost the same. It is almost the same, it is not the same. Getting? So in order to avoid any void, in order to avoid any discrepancy in that, legal language is a cautious language. There is caution, precaution, over caution, and that's why there is prolixity. And sometimes there are triplets also: form, manner, and method. All of us know that form is different, the manner in which it is done is different, and the method that is employed there is different. So such expressions are there. And then there are so many foreign words and expressions that we see, but they have been assimilated in English. Now they are the part of English. For example, the word ad hoc. So many teachers are appointed ad hoc. The word ad hoc is a Latin word, still in use in Indian English also. Okay, or alimony is a very popular word, especially it is paid by the children to the parents or to a separated wife by husband, right? That alimony is given. Bona fide is very, very common, or per annum is very common. These are foreign words. No more, they no more look like the foreign words. But in order to understand that, we need to have these facets. And then there are words which have different meaning in legal context and different meaning in our general context. For example, if we talk about action of Hamlet, that literary action is different from the action taken in law. So judge asks the police or somebody, what action have you taken in this regard? So that is different. Or execute, that execution is different, right, in our context and in legal context. Again, right and duty and wrong and will. So will is no more a model auxiliary there. It is a noun. And remember the expressions like every student shall carry an identity card, shall, binding on that. A student has to abide by the rules. So that compels a student to carry an identity card. So you'll find this expression different in our discourse and different in the legal discourse. Sometimes it is verbose and sometimes it is precision, right? Sometimes it is stretched. You can see on the screen some examples are given, but I'm specifically going to give an example to you. That when a lawyer was asked, Mr. XYZ, are you going to be in the court tomorrow? And then the lawyer answers, the answer to this question is negative. Now, instead of saying just no, the lawyer says the answer to this question. Now, remember, there were nearly 8 or 9 words in that expression. Instead, the lawyer could have used only one single word, that is no. So verbosity, too many verbose expressions are there. Give consideration to, instead of saying consider. And if the word if is replaced by provided. So such examples are there, found in plenty in legal language. So legalistic expressions are there. On your left, adequate number of police personnel were deployed. Enough. The other expression is enough. But this is ordinary expression. We cannot have the desired effect. That is the problem. So why I am showing all these things to you is, as a policy maker, as a syllabus designer, as the BOS chairman, etc., in different capacities, or if research scholars are there, you, the future teachers, policy makers, you can design the course of ESP in such a way that all these things are inculcated: legal syntax, legal lexicon, legal style, and we can make the people understand law. And understanding law is very important. Even we educated people, when we download a particular app, we accept everything. We don't have time to read everything. We don't have patience. And most importantly, we don't understand many things. What is simple? What is easy? Accept. Agree. Even educated people like us do this. And another thing, in national education policy, when we design the syllabus, the curriculum, and when we aim for so many things like character building and moral values and ethical human beings, then we need to inculcate values through literature. Now, when we are talking about language, you will say that why you are talking about literature, because there is close relationship between literature and legal language. Here are some examples before you. I will talk about only one drama, that is The Merchant of Venice, which is very famous, very popular, and everybody knows how Portia turns the table, how Shylock, a Jew, is literally made to beg, not just for pardon, but he's deprived of his wealth also, whatever he earned in his life. And that is the beautiful legal theme. If we introduce this kind of theme, this kind of work, this kind of literature for the literary students or for the law students. Now remember, I teach in a law college, and this drama is there in the syllabus, because through the drama I teach them language also, I teach them some important values of life, and at the same time I teach them the nuances of law. the gimmicks that are done by the law. How a pound of flesh, but not a single drop of blood. How that changes everything, transforms everything. How Antonio is saved because of that. That is the beauty. So if we fuse this, the law students will enjoy literature, and when legal themes are there, the literary students will enjoy the difference. So we have so many texts already, they are there in front of you. I need not talk about them. And I think I should not talk about journalists because time doesn't permit us. So I skip this, but I take your attention to draw your attention to the headlines. This is the news when Jammu and Kashmir was, made a union territory. So remember, see the headline: territory of the union. Now, union ministry, central government did all these things. So territory of the union. Now it is no more a land where only Kashmiri flag will be there and all. Another economics time says that in new political grammar, remember there is linguistic touch given to it. JK loses two articles. Now these articles there are different, we know, but we have articles in our grammar, the definite and indefinite. So very beautiful fusion, that smartness, that sense of humor or presence of mind that is there, and that is journalism. So again, English for specific purposes. You need to understand the beauty of these newspapers through that, or you can become a wonderful journalist. So you can be expert in all these things, the language of Twitter or blogs. So many social media sites are there. And when we talk about English today, then today's world is driven by technology. Tomorrow's world is going to be driven by the robots. So we have to become upgraded and updated. So we need to understand technical writing, and we need to contribute significantly. We can be content writers, right? So we have language of media, we have language of advertisement. Maybe in future, very few students will be turning towards literature. They may not be learning or reading literature until it is in their syllabus. And if you ask some of us, many of us, that how many of us have read beyond our syllabus, the things that are beyond our syllabus, that is a big question to many teachers and research scholars also, because we don't like to see beyond that. We don't have time to go beyond that because we are driven by the TV channels for entertainment. But how, if we convert the novels into the film adaptations, new areas? How, if we do film studies, if we compare guide and the guide the novel and guide the movie, or 5 Point Someone and your Three Idiots, so many adaptations are there. This comparative study, film study, media study, study of advertisements, these are the new areas. And if you become the masters, if you study them as English for specific purposes, you will be in great demand. Or if you introduce this kind of course in your university or college, then that will be a great thing, right? So I'm not going to talk about the language of advertisement, right? But when we talk about the course content, the necessity of NEP 2020 is ESP, because there will be so many jacks but very few masters. So you need to be master, right? And when you become a master, then you need to have so many things like this. You need to have moral values, or being teachers, we need to inculcate them. We cannot be bookish. We need to express ourselves. We need to demonstrate. We need to prove through our talent, through our behavior, through our outputs, right? We need to have communicative competence. And that's why soft skills, employability skills, life skills are getting momentum. Now, nobody talks about literature much, but we talk about communication suddenly, because communication is an issue many times. Communication gap is a big issue. So through the curriculum, through the course content, we need to address these issues, because we are trying to build characters. We are going to build self-reliant India, self-dependent India. And then we need vocational courses. When vocational courses are there, specific English is to be there, because foreigners will be studying in your university, or you will be studying in some foreign university. So you need that different kind of English, specific kind of English with specific needs, right? And apart from this, your interests are to be there. I mean, Harshini madam one day while having a trial said, introduced me to be a good singer, And Akshaya madam said that you please sing a song for us. So it won't be a wonder if English teacher acts in some movies, sings songs, or does something else, because we need to be jack of many trades and master of few. We need to have practical experience. We need to be having mathematical thinking on one hand. On one hand, we need to be creative. We need to be very good in our teaching, in our communication. And that's why we need to change our perspective, change our outlook, change our attitude, and try to take whatever is good for us. Right? Here is a lyrical verses of Kabir. Everybody knows Kabir. It will be very difficult for you to understand the Hindi words here, but you can read the English ones. So this translation is an area which is having great demand of you. So you can focus on this. So if you tomorrow work or write a paper on English for translation purposes, because many times our translations are very poor. You need to translate not just words, but the substance, the feelings, the emotions, the idea behind composition. So that needs to be there. Here is the translation of Saint Tukaram's lines by Dilip Chitre. So Abhangas, the lyrical verses of Saint Tukaram are very famous. They are sung across Maharashtra in temples, etc. But we need to understand now why we need translations, because these saints tried to reform society, educate society, enlighten society through simple ways, by abhangas, by kirtanas, etc. And if we translate them into English and make it available to the vaster audience, for example, people in Tamil Nadu may not know this, they may not understand this Marathi. When it is translated into English, and when that substance, that idea is also translated, carried forward, maintained, preserved, then definitely there will be great awakening. And so will happen about some Tamil poets or saints or philosophers or reformers. If they are translated into English, they will be available in Marathi, and wide number of people, large number of people will be uh, able to understand that. So, instilling values and virtues is what national education policy thinks. Swami Vivekananda long back talked about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Our entire Indian culture talks about that. We need to maintain this through our education, through our teaching, through our everything, whatever we do. So, democracy, fraternity, equality, liberty, character building, compassion, and all these values need to be preserved, right? Because NEP 2020, that is National Education Policy 2020, aims to make India Vishwaguru. Long back, Honorable Dr. EPJ Abdul Kalam dreamt India to be superpower in 2020. We have completed 1 year, and because of pandemic, we find that we are nowhere, right? So Vishwaguru, we are dreaming very high. We need to contribute very significantly. We need to work harder and smarter. Only hard work won't work. Smart work also works. National education policy is quite idealistic, quite wonderful. The idea is very wonderful, but we need to respond to it. And in this national education policy, if we want to survive, if you want to cope up, if you want to remain alive in the competition, you need to have some specific needs in mind. You need to become expert in something. And that is what English for specific purposes tells. And it is the necessity of National Education Policy 2020, right? I hope I have addressed the issues that were reflected in my title. I am very much thankful to the organizers for thinking me very appropriate for this occasion. It was a great pleasure interacting with all of you. Now I am ready to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for an insightful and highly ingenious webinar. Your talk has given us a clear idea on ESP after the introduction of NEP 2020. You rightly made your point loud and clear that NEP has the potential to produce resourceful, multi talented, multifaceted, and multidimensional scholars, thus making education more relevant and focused. We are sure that your resourceful presentation will help many academicians, especially teachers and students of English, in their teaching and learning outcomes. Thanks once again, sir. We have now come to the interactive session part, and I request Mrs. S. Jayamada to act as a bridge between the participants and the resource person. To you now, Jaya ma'am.
Sir, I have collected a few
Madam,
questions.
actually, I'm very
Yes, sir.
Akshay. Actually, I couldn't hear Harshini, madam, properly. Maybe network problem from your side or my side. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Will you
So,
please
with your
repeat what Harshini ma'am said?
sir, yeah, Ashwini
Yes,
ma'am.
sir, I'll ask her to repeat. Ashwini ma'am, please repeat ma'am, please repeat.
What you telling?
Yes, questions are posted in the chat box here in StreamYard. Yes, sir,
No,
please,
ma'am.
you can also have a look at the questions posted by participants in the chat box. You can see yourself and you can answer the StreamYard chat box. Could you see the questions, sir?
Sir, your voice
Excuse
is
me,
not
sir, your
audible.
voice is not audible.
Literature students passed with first class and even distinction cannot be
Able to
very
pass this
communicative, or
class.
they are not expert. It is said, yes, somewhere we are lacking in so many things. For example, the teachers not teacher blame game. I said in the beginning, the teachers not focusing, the parents are not focusing, the students are not doing well. And if we introduce some certificate courses, if we introduce some special lectures, or if we design this kind of course where phonetics is there, but how it is taught and how it is practiced by students also. So somewhere we need to address these things. If we focus more on presentation skills, speaking of students, then definitely these issues can be sorted out. Thank you for this question. Where there is no emphasis on pronunciation, why there is no emphasis on pronunciation in India? That is the next question. I think some internet connectivity problem is there. From my side, it is not there.
No, sir, no,
I
sir.
hope
Your voice is
somebody
not
please
audible.
write in the comment box if I am audible or not.
Yeah, yeah, audible, sir. Your voice is audible. Sir, can you hear me?
Somebody is speaking, I'm not able to understand. And
Sir, can you hear me?
dear participants, if you write in the comments, I'll be able to understand if
Excuse
I'm
me, sir, can you
audible
hear me?
and I'm able to answer your questions or not.
Sir, you're audible, sir.
Akshay, madam, I think I'm visible, but there is network problem from your side. Okay, I'll be answering the questions. Please wait. I don't know whether I'm clearly audible to you people,
No, sir,
but
we
still
can
I will
able to
answer.
hear you and see you, sir.
Uh,
I think.
okay, I'll take the our way of language teaching differs from universities like Oxford, Cambridge, etc. Uh, okay, my views are that the necessities are different. Okay, the problem is from my side. Just wait. Just wait for some seconds.
Dear participants, please be stay tuned. Sir will be coming now. Excuse me, sir, can you hear me now? Sir, you're muted. Excuse me, sir.
A very humble apology once again because of some technical glitches. We couldn't interact properly. I'll take the next question. I hope you are enjoying my answers also. Yeah, I'm very much there. Voice is audible. Thank you. So, okay, no matter how a person is with his language, there is still a lag in terms of deriving authentic sense in translation. Why is it so? See, translation is not just a translation of a particular literature from one language to another. It is transcreation. So carrying the sense is very important. It is not that you just translate verbally or non-verbal things are there. Reading between the lines is important in translation, because you cannot have the poet all the time to ask what he or she meant, what he or she signified from a particular thing. So we have to understand that sense. Understanding that sense is very important to convert the substance from one language to another. So that is important in translation. And if you approach it as English for specific purposes, for example, English for translation, then you can have multiple kinds of synonyms, and you have to choose an appropriate word there. Because if we are translating from Hindi into English, in Hindi you have got Sanskrit words, Punjabi words, Urdu words, Persian words, and like this. So you have to understand the idea behind that word, utilization of that word while translating. While talking about Oxford and Cambridge universities, see, our educational system is completely different. We cannot compete with these people right now, and it's a very sad thing to tell as an Indian that we are nowhere in the competition of Oxford, Cambridge, and such universities. If you see the top ranked universities of the world, we are nowhere. That is a very unfortunate thing. But definitely, NEP 2020 will transform the things. We hope, we pray. But our significant contribution, substantial contribution, is the need of the hour. Then only we can contribute. Our syllabus is different, their syllabus is different. Our needs are different, their needs are different. For example, when we talk about English medium schools, primary level schools, our students get good marks because they are private schools, they want to maintain the students. But when it comes to conceptual clarity, we find MA English postgraduate does not speak English properly. We find that an expert of mathematics does not know mathematics properly. An engineering graduate cannot communicate properly, cannot perform practically. That is the problem with our system. I think that doesn't happen with Oxford and Cambridge universities. It is learning by doing. Here it is learning by enjoying. So that is the difference. Means we don't attend lectures. We, push the students forward. That is what happens. Okay, how can we adapt or modify authentic materials for the learners? See, again, sources are different. We have social media. For example, recently MLA ninth edition is there. You can authenticate the material by seeing the website, etc., or the contributors, etc. And again, we are wise enough to understand whether it is valid for our students, whether it is really authentic, whether it is reliable or not. So we as teachers, we as policymakers, we need to understand that. Okay, so thank you for all these questions, but remember, my focus was on National Education Policy 2020, and amongst that, or amidst that, how ESP, English for Specific Purposes, is going to be important. I hope I have answered your question satisfactorily. Once again, I thank Dr. Harshini for considering me as an appropriate person for this webinar, national webinar. It's a big university, beautiful campus that was seen, visible in the introductory video that was played in the beginning of the webinar. Thank you very much. I thank the participants. I thank the organizers also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr.
Over to
Vaibhav and Mrs. Jayada. Special thanks to our resource person, Dr. Vaibhav Sabnis, for patiently and efficiently answering all the questions posted by participants. It is now a moment to express gratitude to everyone who supported, guided, and extended their fullest cooperation for the successful conduct of today's webinar. Ms. R. Akshya is invited now to the studio to propose the vote of thanks. To you now, Ms. Akshya.
Thank you so much, ma'am. On behalf of organizing team, it's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. My heart fills with lots of gratitude and respect for our distinguished speaker, Dr. Vaibhav, for sparing his valuable time by sharing his knowledge to all the participants on the topic English for Specific Purpose, NEP 2020 Necessity. At the national level webinar come interactive session organized by Department of English, Adayalampattu Phase II Campus. Sir, your was indeed a mind-blowing presentation and also an eye-opener in many ways to the participants, wherein each clearly understood the need in introduced to ESP and NEP 2020 and at undergraduate level alongside the intricate issues with the base of general English at primary level. Thank you. I am running short of time to express my heartfelt thanks to our management and our Honorable President, Engineer ACS Arun Kumar sir, for his support and guidance he has extended to all of us at the department. I am extremely thankful to our Joint Registrar, Dr. S. Ramalingam, respected Dean, Dr. S. Manivannan, Deputy Dean Academics, Dr. A.R. Arnachalam, and Deputy Dean Administration, Professor K. Sendil Kumar, for enormous support and guidance in conducting a various programs. Above and beyond, let's not forget the backbone of this webinar, my department colleagues come organizers, Mrs. A. Julie Elizabeth, Professor Dr. P. Hashini, and Mrs. S. Jayamata for their coordination and enormous support for making this event a grand success. Last but not least, I thank all participants for making this event a resounding success. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Akshya, for expressing it in a beautiful way. Appreciation is the highest form of encouragement. Our resource person, Dr. Vaibhav Sabnis, has lived up to our expectations and has given his best to enlighten the participants from all over the nation with his deep knowledge and profound abilities. It hence becomes a bound privilege and duty on behalf of our esteemed university to appreciate him for his selfless sharing of knowledge to the academic community. I request Ms. R. Akshya to display the appreciation certificate as a token of our immense gratitude through this virtual studio. So please accept our appreciation certificate.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, madam.
And sir, you asked me to repeat what I said earlier, right? I said your talk has given us a clear idea on ESP after the introduction of NEP 2020. You rightly made your point loud and clear that NEP has the potential to produce resourceful, multi-talented, multifaceted, and multi-dimensional scholars, thus making education more relevant and focused. We are sure that your resourceful presentation will help many academicians, especially teachers and students of English, in their teaching and learning outcomes. So that's what I said earlier, sir. So now.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. And I
Thank
missed
you,
the concluding part, but I thank the participants for wonderful questions and their gracious presence. And thank you personally. Thanks to Akshaya for handling the technical things. And thanks to your department, the head, the Vice Chancellor, and others. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Akshaya. Now, dear participants, this is again information for you. The feedback link is displayed under the bright yellow title and is now active in the YouTube description box. You are requested to click, fill, and submit the form before 6 p.m. Indian time today to instantly receive your certificates in your registered emails. The form will be deactivated after 6 p.m. Ever since the inception of virtual programs, it has been a policy of our university to avoid sharing the presentation slides to the participants. But we would like to let you all know that this video will be ever available in our YouTube channel for you to view at any moment from the comforts of your place. We have now come to the fag end of the program. and we are extremely positive that the academic world would have gained the needed knowledge out of the topic. With waiting gratification of presenting an impressive webinar of national significance, we wish to sign off and hope to meet you all in the next program. Keep supporting us as always, dear participants, and do not forget to click on the big fat like button and also subscribe our YouTube channel, Dr. MGR University Phase II Digital Learning, for further updates about our programs and videos. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you and bye. Till we meet again.